Hey, what's going on? Excuse me. So after the speaker swap, what I did with this little solid state bullet amp that I've been messing around with, fun little thing by the way. But what I did after that was I decided to run a looper pedal into it for a couple hours to break in the speaker, and like like usual, really, unless the speaker is years and years old, the difference between broken in and new isn't super dramatic, but it is noticeable. It is enough, especially in the highs and just the overall feel of the speaker, that it's enough to notice when playing through it. So anyway, I've got a few pedals hooked up here. I'll show a picture of it later, but what I've got is a let's see, it's an MXR custom audio electronics boost line driver with the gain turned up a little less than halfway. I've got a full tone plimsoll, one of my all-time favorite overdrive pedals. I know it's not that popular. I love it personally through the Fender amps I normally play through. And let's see, there's a Voodoo Lab micro vibe in the chain, which I guess I'll hit at some point just so you can hear it, but it doesn't really have anything to do with the sound of the amp. And I've got an Ibanez digital delay. This is I use a couple different ones. They're both from the 80s. This one is the DDL model. And I just run through a couple sounds here. Here is the straight sound with just the boost line driver. Now what the boost line driver really does is it drives an effects chain particularly well, in fact. And it drives an effects chain. I've run about 50 foot of cable, I think, before with it, with no loss of tone, which is important if you're playing on bigger stages and stuff, which sometimes I'm lucky enough to get a chance to do. And it's really good for that. It converts the signal to low impedance, so it makes it possible to drive longer cables without a loss of sound, a loss of tone. One thing about it, though, if you use fuzz pedal, you want to put a fuzz pedal ahead of it. You don't want to put it behind it. It's you don't want to do that with buffers. You want the fuzz pedal as close to the guitar as possible. I'm sure you've heard that before. But here are some sounds from this thing, anyways, from this little amp. I'll try to not overpower the phone mic, so I'm just going to leave the delay and the boost line driver on all the time. I'll leave the boost line driver on because, honestly, I think even just sitting here next to the amp, I probably have 30 foot of cable between the two, and there's always a loss of sound when you do that, and I like to avoid that. So it still has a little bit of that solid state bite, but it's manageable. And that's the neck and the middle pickup. Here, I'm going to stand up for a second. This way I can click pedals easier from here. Back to clean. Furnace just kicked on. I don't know if you can hear that rumble in the background, but that's what that is. So here's the here's all that stuff. Here's pretty much everything at once. I'll turn the overdrive back on, and this is the microvibe, which is one of the kind of low budget Univibe clone from, I think it came out in the 90s, but I really like the way they sound, so whatever. So, what do you think? Would you guess that's a maybe at a pawn shop or a guitar center, 40, 50 bucks on a bad day? Probably usually more like 30 bucks. A little beginner amp with the back taken off and a Jensen C8R speaker thrown in, broken in for about 2 hours. A Stratocaster, pretty special Stratocaster, if you ask me, and a handful of pedals. I don't know. I could almost gig with it if I had a small enough gig to support that a 10-watt amp would support. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. I still hear some of that solid state top end bite. It's rounded off just ever so slightly now that I've broken the speaker in for 2 hours. It's rounded off to the point where it's kind of livable. I'm not sure if that would even show up in a mix. You know, add another instrument and it might actually be helpful. It might help the guitar to cut through. Not like a Strat ever has any problems doing that, but it might actually be a nice thing in a mix. It's hard for me to say, but I don't know. Let me know in the comments if it sounds like solid state, typical, solid state junk to you. I understand. Part of me the snob in me kind of wants to say, yeah, it's whatever. It is what it is. It's a practice amp. That's mostly what I'm going to use it for. But I don't know. I think it sounds pretty good for what it is. How's that? So, anyways, um, I'll try and make some more videos for you to check out, and hopefully some halfway interesting content for you in the future. I'm also thinking about starting another channel for different pursuits, and using the Rich Wong. By the way, that's how I pronounce my last name. Thinking about using the Rich Wong YouTube channel as a just a general interest and a guitar and music type of channel, also gear related. Although I'm not a super gearhead, I'm mostly working with stuff that I've had kicking around for years, doing different things with it. But that type of thing, and then I'm thinking about a different channel for my for automotive stuff, because I'm a car freak. Also, as a career, I'm a career car freak, and also a hobbyist car freak as well. So the things take up a lot of my time. That's a little bit about me, anyways. But yeah, let me know what you think of this this funny little amp that I seem to be spending an inordinate amount of time with. I think it kind of works pretty good. All right, see you later. Bye.